I will get some of this coach speak out of the way, but I'm obviously excited up here and say they're not excited and optimistic. They're pulling your leg, but you know, in particular, going into our fourth year, feel pretty confident, pretty comfortable with our team. You know, we got 40 juniors and seniors in the 2 deep. We got 22 guys that have started Big 12 football games. You know, we got over 50 guys that have played in Big 12 football games. So, you know, a lot of the guys that are on our team right now are guys that have been there and done that. Won't understand what the Big 12 is all about, understand the style of ball, understand the personnel. You know, it's just we're in a totally different position than we have been in the past. So looking forward to what's ahead.
Okay, questions for Coach? And when you get the microphone, that means that you're the one that's going to ask the question. So. Questions for Coach? All right, we got a question on the aisle. Just a moment, we'll get a microphone to you. Over here in the middle.
Coach Ben Kirchner, Bleacher Report. You mentioned the amount of experience that you have, guys who played in Big 12 games. How does it translate specifically to your defense? And would you say that this might be the best that you've had since you've been here?
Well, without a doubt, it should be, you know, the best that I've had since, potentially since I started coaching 20-some years ago. Just got guys that have a bunch of experience. You know, a lot of. When we came into this league 3 years ago, you know, everybody, you know, remembers Geno Smith and Tavon Austin and Stedman Bailey, but I doubt you could name another person, especially anybody on defense. So, you know, just guys that have been in, you know, 3 and 4 years, you know, even going into their fifth year, you know, guys have been there and they've played a bunch. You got a lot of guys that are starters and backups, and you know, I'm not going to sit here and apologize for where we're at defensively. You know, from a coaching staff perspective, we're in a different place as well. Tony Gibson's done a great job. He brought a scheme that he believes in and I believe in, knows how to coach it. You know, we got all our position coaches back, added Bruce Tall for our D-line, who's coached in this defense as well. So continuity on the defensive staff, along with a lot of experience with players and some pretty good talent as well. So, you know, it's been a long road to get to this point defensively, and we obviously feel good about it.
Got a coach question right here in the middle, second row.
Hi, Coach. Brian Schottel from Fan React and Yahoo Sports Radio. Can you talk about the progress you've seen from Skylar Howard, you know, over the last, especially since the springtime, and just really what do you expect from the quarterback position?
Well, I think the number one thing that we got to talk about when it comes to the quarterback position is taking care of the football. He did play in 2.5 games last year and didn't throw a pick, had one fumble that he learned a lesson from. You know, we're going to use our quarterbacks in the run game a little bit more. We did with him last year for 2.5 games, which is going to put a little bit of a burden on him when it comes to ball security. You know, so everybody talks the quarterback position about, you know, taking care of the ball when he's throwing it, but you got to take care of the ball in the pocket. You got to take care of the ball when you tuck it and head downfield as well. So whoever that guy is for us is going to be the guy that can take care of the ball more than anything. We were 120th in turnover margin last year. You know, we felt like we know we would have put ourselves in position to win the conference if we would have done a better job of taking care of the ball and getting turnovers on defense as well. That's been something that's been stressed, and it's going to be something that we're going to continue to stress going into camp.
We had a question on the right-hand side, and then we'll go to the left-hand side.
Coach Holgerstum, Joey LaMonica with the Dominion Post. Along the offensive line, obviously you lost Spain and Mark to graduation. What kind of battles do you anticipate at camp, especially at the guard position with Pankey and the transfer Kyle Bosch from Michigan?
Where you at? There you go. Over here. There we go. At least I can pretend I'm looking at you now, right? You know, I feel really good about where we're at guard. You know, those two guys last year, Spain and Glowinski, were, you know, pretty good for us, and they're both in the NFL now. I feel like we're replacing them with guys that are equally as good or potentially could even be better. Adam Pankey started all last year for us at tackle. You know, he's going to have the ability to be able to go out at tackle if we need him to. Kyle Bosch coming in, gaining immediate eligibility is important. He's a big physical guy that started at Michigan as a true freshman. I've only coached one guy that has started as a true freshman in my 16 years of being at this level. So Tony Matteo and Grant Lingefeld are guys that were our backups last year. So we got a lot of bodies there. I think the bigger question is going to be getting consistent play at tackle. Marquise Lucas is going to be the same guy, even better than he was last year. We need to find another tackle, and that's going to be the biggest question mark going into camp.
Coach, on your left-hand side, about halfway back with her hand waving in the air.
Hey Dana, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. Not specific to your guys right now, but you've coached a lot of quarterbacks in spread offenses, air raid offenses. Are there some consistent characteristics that you've seen out of the most successful of those guys?
Yeah, I think it goes back to what I said a minute ago. Just you know, taking care of the football is the biggest thing. Big 12's been blessed with just tremendous quarterback play. Throughout, going back all the way into 2000, when, you know, back when I was coaching Coach Kingsbury, who's running around here somewhere, haven't seen him yet. But so much good quarterback play in the Big 12. We're used to good quarterback play. The main thing when it comes to winning a championship is guys that take care of the football. That's the bottom line. You know, everybody's going to have talented guys that can, you know, either run with it or be accurate and throw with it. And, so many good skill guys that they're going to make you look right as well. But just getting guys that take care of the ball is the #1 quality that we look for.
Going to come over on the right-hand side, Coach, second row.
Larry Bump, Pittsburgh Tribune Review. Will you have other changes? You mentioned the quarterback being a little more mobile, maybe. Will you have any changes in your offense, and will you continue to use more kind of multiple choice approach running back?
Yeah, I can't be too specific. You know, there's people watching, but you know, you know, different personnel groupings is important. You know, us personally, you know, I mean, we go back. I mean, this league is so similar with what we do offensively. You know, there's so much carryover from guys that I've coached or guys that I've coached with or whatever it is, to the point to where we got to do different things to change to keep people off balance. You know, getting the quarterback involved in the run game, I've mentioned that. Different personnel groupings is important. Different tempos is important. You know, I think defenses have caught up to, if you just stay in one personnel grouping and think you're just going to go as fast as you possibly can, I think defenses have caught up to that and they can suffocate that. So being able to change is important, and being able to vary things is important as well.
We've got a question on the left-hand side, but I've lost it. Okay, we got a question in the middle right-hand side.
Hey, Coach. Edward Santiago, Heartland College Sports. Wide receiver took a big hit for you guys with Mario Alford and Kevin White going in the NFL draft. What do you guys expect to do at that position this season?
Just got coached up. Nobody knew who those guys were a year ago. We weren't really talking about those guys a year ago. So, you know, we're gonna coach up the guys that we got. You know, we're in a much better place than we were 2 years ago when we lost 99% of our receiving production. You know, right now, even with those guys gone, we got at least 50% of our receiving production coming back. So, you know, Jordan Thompson is a good low player, keeps getting better. Da'Keil Shorts is a very solid guy that has a chance to be one of those replacements on the outside. Shelton Gibson's probably the fastest player I've ever coached. You know, and then we brought in 3 guys. you know, who I think all three are a different caliber player than we've recruited for the last several years. So all those guys are young, but you know, we coached them a little bit in June, but it's hard to really assess it when you don't have a football. So I like those guys' mentality and the way their bodies are. We just got to get out there and practice. And you know, if you look back at the history, going back all the way into the 2000s in Texas Tech, we've had a fairly successful rate of developing receivers, so I don't see this year being any different.
Hey, Dana, Brian Baldinger back here, Fox Sports. You mentioned running backs, personnel groupings. I know a couple of years ago, Charles Sims, you were real proud of how he caught the football, and obviously it was a big deal going to the NFL. Of your running backs, and we know their names, but does one stand out as far as a better receiver right now?
Yeah, there's a reason Wendell Smallwood's here today. You know, he sat there and learned from Charles Sims during his true freshman year. Wasn't needed as much as we needed Charles 2 years ago this past year, but he was arguably our best back, both carrying the ball and being able to line up as a receiver and catch the ball. He's potentially the most versatile guy that I've ever been around. We're planning on doing some of the same things with William Crest. You know, that running back type body that can carry the ball, that can also transition into the slot and be able to do things successfully downfield is going to be interesting to watch.
Questions for Coach? Got a question on the outside left.
I'll take another one. Dana, obviously concussion's a big issue everywhere, and you guys had it front and center with Clint last year. The decision in the conference to limit the hitting days seems like it could be a real positive move, staying ahead of that issue. How have you seen it, and is that going to change any practice, number of days you guys hit?
Yeah, it's a model that I've been following for the last 4 years. So, yeah, it's not going to restrict our practice time whatsoever. You know, we haven't had a 2-a-day at West Virginia in 4 years. Haven't, you know, had really actually haven't had back-to-back full contact days in quite some time. So, you know, the way the model is right now is something that I supported and something that we've done at West Virginia since I got there. So, it's obviously an issue, and you know, Clint was a great player for us, and just unfortunately kind of took too many hits there towards the end. But that's just part of the game, and that's why he's coaching right now too. You know, it's something that coaches are incredibly hands-off on. It's 100% in the doctor's hands, and whatever they decide is what we got to support. That's just the way it's going to be.
Further questions for Coach? We got a question in the rear, Chana, all the way in the rear of the TV cameras. Sorry.
Hey, Coach, Matt Hawes with West Virginia Illustrated. Just given the amount of experience you got coming back at the running back position, just so you answered a few questions ago about, you know, some new receivers and some guys who are going to be getting a lot of playing time this season. Do you expect that the running load will kind of carry this offense maybe for the first time in your career?
Hope not. Hey, geez, I still like to throw the ball a good bit, you know. I know one thing, if you can't do either one, you're not going to be worth a darn, I can assure you that. So we've worked hard and Ron Crook coming in has been very instrumental in this, but we've worked hard on getting our run game to where people got to respect it. You know, last year we're still top 7 or 8 in passing in the country, but we ran the ball over 50% of the time. So that's just kind of what our philosophy is, and that's the way it's going to be. You know, the more success we have in running the ball, the more we're going to do it. But if people are putting too many people up there to block, then we're not going to do it. So you just got to kind of figure out what the tendencies are for what they do defensively, what their plan's going to be, and then you need to be able to adjust accordingly. And if you can't run the ball and throw the ball, then you're not going to be successful offensively.
Any final question for Coach? Got a question on the left-hand side on the aisle.
Byron Patton, Fox 25, Oklahoma City. Every coach so far has said that they don't mind the limit in contact drills. Is that a sign of the change? Maybe more spread offenses being run, or why is that? Because it seems like maybe older coaches would say, hey, I need to hit a little bit more and 3 yards and cloud this. Why is that?
think it goes back to what Jenny just talked about with the concussion stuff. You got to protect the kids as much as you possibly can, but you can't lose sight on the fact that it's a physical game. And you know, everybody wants to say, well, we're going to go to the spread offense and be soft. Well, you go to the spread offense and you're soft, you're going to get your butt kicked. So you got to maintain a physical nature. It's a physical game. You know, they can curve it from practice time a little bit, but if you curve it out there in the game field, you're not going to be successful. So I just think you got to find that balance, you know, and you got to be able to do as much, you know, contact and as much, teaching these guys the proper techniques and the proper mentality, which is being tough. If you don't do that, you're not going to win.
Any further questions? Okay, Coach, thank you very much and good luck for the season.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, that was Coach Dana Holgerstum from West Virginia. And one thing about West Virginia's offense, they're high-powered, and they do a lot of things, and they're fun to watch. Last year, they gave up a lot of turnovers, and the defense, they need to tighten things up for them to have some success in 2015. More from the Big 12 Football Media Day here in Dallas. More teams, more coaches talking about what's to come in 2015. Donniesport Football Show rolls on right here on the Donniesport 17 Network.